Liberty Blue Rangers Podcast. With Andrew Chelby and Nick Zararis.
Rangers fans, welcome to the best Rangers podcast in town. I'm Andrew Chelney alongside Nick Zararis, and we are Liberty Blue. We scream about the Rangers so that you can save your voice. That's how deeply we care about you, and we appreciate that you've joined us for the ride. This is episode 28 on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Pre-recording this just a couple hours early just due to scheduling, but hopefully Christopher doesn't do anything drastic between now and when this airs a couple of hours. I'm pretty sure there's still a roster freeze and nothing can happen, but with Christopher, you never know. So hopefully this doesn't age too poorly. We'll put the full video up on our YouTube Liberty Blue Podcast, and the audio version will be available as an audio podcast as well. Search Liberty Blue on your favorite podcast platform, and it should be there. Give the show that shiny and illustrious 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and anywhere else you can rate the show. It helps us more than you possibly think it does. At Liberty Blue Pod on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Chelney Andrew, CHELNEY Andrew, alongside Nick Zararis, Nick ZARARIS. Those are our personal handles to follow as well. Nick, happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you as well, Andrew, to the entire community. This is a nice time of year this week between Christmas and New Year's where everybody who's home from work for the week is doing nothing, and everybody who still has to get work done during this week is really not doing much of anything either. We hope you're listening to this podcast and it's helping you get through if you have to go into work, or if you are not sure of what day of the week it is because you've been on the couch since last Friday. We're here for you as well. This is going to be a very light episode, keeping it in the theme of the holidays, trying to not lay it on too thick, because even we get a little tired of being serious all of the time. Even we who scream so you don't have to, even we get tired of being serious all of the time. There will be no complaining about cap hits. There will be no complaining about lineup deployment. All we are going to talk about, very, very straightforward, very, very simple. We're going to talk about the two games that are upcoming this week, where the Rangers are going to be playing the Panthers and they're going to be playing Tampa Bay. Those we'll talk about. We'll talk about what we would get different guys on the team for Christmas. You can take it literally in terms of something you could get them on Amazon.
And they have the caps tomorrow as well with Ovi coming.
Yes. We'll talk. We can talk in terms of what you would actually get them, like on Amazon, if you were to get them an actual gift, or if you wanted to get like Filipino adamantium bones, like Wolverine, so he couldn't get hurt. We could talk about that as well. So, Andrew, first and foremost, I'm just glad the season didn't spiral completely out of control. I know 2 weeks ago we were kind of debating the merits of would it be beneficial to do that, because you starting over, the sooner you start over, you get closer to your goal eventually. But it seems like things are relatively calm. It seems like the league is starting to kind of take its shape. The Devils have kind of gotten into a funk here. Washington has, at the same time the Rangers have gotten going, the Capitals have also kind of gotten into a nice run as well. They're in the other playoff spot. The Islanders are 2 points behind the Capitals for the wild card spots. Those are the three teams that are close, and then there's another team that's further down. It's just nice to kind of seem like things are kind of getting back to normal. And that's a good start, considering the Rangers haven't been normal in several years.
I mean, it's never fun to root for spiraling, right? Like when a few weeks ago when we talked about this, we weren't rooting for them to keep losing. The point is for us to be like, hey, this is what's wrong, and this is how you fix it. And if losing fixes the issue, well then maybe that might not be the worst possible avenue. But the good news for the Rangers is that they figured out how to win games. But it's interesting because when they were good, they lost. But when they were bad, they won. Because the Rangers are silly and the sport is silly. So sometimes things like that happen. But last week, the Rangers are playing really well. They lost against Pittsburgh, but they really should have won that game. Just another one of those situations where they outplayed Pittsburgh for, I want to say, 75% of the game. They played really well.
Yeah.
Just the puck just didn't go in, and sometimes it just be like that. And against the Islanders, they played well. They played like a team that was out to win the game. unlike most of the other games that the Rangers love playing the Islanders in which the Islanders come in and just lap circles around the Rangers, and then they just shrug their shoulders and say, GG, go next. The Rangers actually showed up to this one, which was nice. A nice change of pace. They looked really good. Julian Gauthier has kind of cemented his spot over Sammy Blais. I feel like goal and an assist against the Islanders. He looked good. He actually scored a goal, scored a breakaway. He scored more goals against the Islanders in that one game than Sammy Blais has scored in all of his games as a Ranger. So it could be worse. Could be worse.
That's the thing. The wins against the Devils and the Islanders over the last 2.5, 3 weeks, those are the Rangers' two best wins of the entire season. Because earlier in the season, they were folding in those games where they would finally tie the game up, then they would lose the lead. That was it. In November and October, they weren't scoring 2 straight goals to come back and win the game. To come back the way they did against the Islanders, where the Islanders kept scoring and the Rangers kept matching it, and you just kept waiting for the other shoe to drop to see, are the Islanders going to get the next one and go up by 2, or the Rangers going to tie it again? And they found a way. That's the thing. As long as they keep finding a way, it doesn't matter how pretty it is. It doesn't matter realistically. I know you spend most people spent the entirety of last season debating the merits of the sustainability of relying on a goaltender having a Vezina caliber season in the power play. But for right now, one game at a time, you keep rattling off wins, then we can worry about sustainability closer you get to the deadline, because this team is going to add something. And that's the first question I have for you. If you were to get the team at large a gift for Christmas, would you prefer to get them a top 6 wing, a defenseman to stabilize that third defensive pair, or something else?
It would have to be a top 6 forward because again, the issue that continues to come up with the Rangers is that when the power play isn't scoring, the Rangers are not scoring enough at 5-on-5. Julian Gauthier scoring was nice, and Capo Caco scoring was nice, but usually what ends up happening is that if Panarin doesn't score that first goal against Sorokin on the power play, where is the offense coming from? That Panarin goal was really the kickstarter to the Rangers having some life in the game and finally scoring, and everything kind of just shifted based on that goal. Well, if Panarin doesn't score there, who is going to do it? Now, the Rangers have had this issue all of last season, all of this season, where they don't have enough 5-on-5 scoring. So I've been saying it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I'll keep on saying that the Rangers need a 5-on-5 score. It's not Patrick Kane. It's going to be somebody else. Maybe Ryan O'Reilly if the Blues continue to be bad and they keep losing and Ryan O'Reilly wants out and the Blues are sellers. I would love Ryan O'Reilly. But as of right now, it's still kind of too early to figure out an exact name, which is why I think being a little bit vague in the ether of a top 6 scorer that can score at 5-on-5 is the best possible thing, because we don't know who in February is going to be bad. We have no idea. So it's a little bit premature to be like, I want this player in particular, when we don't know if they're going to be buyers or sellers or in between or in that like 9 to 12 range. Like, we don't know yet. So I think just overall, like on the wish list, top 6 forward that can score at 5-on-5, number 1 on the agenda for me.
One of the things I was talking about on Christmas Eve with somebody about the Rangers and why they need to add a top 6 wing, and this is an idea I've had since they signed Trocheck over the summer. If you bring in one more top 6 wing, you could deploy a line of Kako with Kreider and Trocheck and really have a true shutdown style checking line that can contribute offensively as well. And it's just going to be a miserable experience for the other team to play against. And then you can really enhance your fourth line, because then you can slide Jimmy Vesey down there with Gaudreau, and then whoever you want on the other wing, whether you prefer Gauthier or Blais, it doesn't really matter to me. You can have a really, really effective bottom 6, and then you just need that one more forward to enable a significantly deeper lineup, which has been the thing all year, is that, yeah, the team is playing relatively well, they're playing better, but you get one more forward in here, and that's just going to unlock another level of play, because you're not going to have to ask as much out of certain guys, out of those secondary pieces. Like you were saying before, it's great that Gauthier scored a goal the other night, but you can't bank on Gauthier being the difference on most nights. And that's the thing when you get to the playoffs, which is why they definitely need another top 6 wing. When you play other good teams, the top sixes more or less are going to cancel out. They're going to be close to the same amounts of goals for both teams on the first and second line. And typically, especially in the early rounds of the playoffs, what separates the teams that go on the deep runs from the teams that get knocked out early is that depth scoring, that third line, that can their fourth line chip in a goal every now and then. And if the Rangers can add a top six forward, it's going to make their bottom six better as too, because you're going to get to take out one less effective player, slide effective players further down in your lineup. That should be your end goal ultimately, is making your entire lineup better. So just bringing in a top six forward definitely helps because it's going to make your top six better, but it's also going to make the bottom six better too.
It's a really good point because if you take a look at how the Avs and the Lightning won the Cup the last few years, it's not just because they had a really solid top six. It's because they had so much depth scoring when the team needed it. You would have Ross Colton on the third line or the fourth line constantly being a pain in the you know what to the other team because he would constantly be in the front of the net. He would be scoring the dirty goals. He would be there to provide that secondary offense that the team needed in order to win the game. It would be great if Julian Gauthier did more than more of what he did on against the Islanders, but right now it would be a lot better if the Rangers could add another top six forward, and now all of a sudden you can slide Kreider down on the third. Kreider on the third line is a cheat code. This
It's a
man,
luxury. Yeah.
it's an absolute luxury. It's a cheat code for the Rangers to have. If you can have that kind of forward depth, and you can slide Gaudreau down to the fourth line, you don't have to ask too much of him. That's the whole
He had
problem
a
that we
great
have.
game against the Islanders
Right.
because he was playing in a role that was suited for him against
Exactly.
players where he was going to be able to win matchups. Because, like, as much as we like to make fun of the Islanders' vaunted fourth line, they do occasionally, every now and then, stumble into one of those shutdown games where you just can't get anything going against them. But Barclay Goodrow is better than Matt Martin at
Sure.
34 years
Well,
old.
that's the thing. Like, if the problem that we have with Barclay Goudreau is not with
We're
him
not complaining,
specifically.
Andrew. We're not
Right,
complaining, Andrew.
we're not complaining. The issue that we have with Goudreau is not him specifically. Is that Gerard Gallant keeps putting him in the top six and just says, "Hey, go do things." When Barclay Goudreau is a bottom six forward. So if you get a top six, whether it be winger or center or whatever, and you can slide Goudreau down and have him be more comfortable in that bottom six, it not only makes him a better player, makes the bottom six more dangerous. Everybody's on the same page, and that is how you really build a contender. Is you don't just bank on three players to score and say everybody else go do some cardio. When you add enough people out there on the forward groups that can score, and that can not only score but can get the puck, can dump it in and go to
Go
the
get it.
dirty
Yeah.
areas and get that takeaway when you need it the most, and what Barclay Goudreau is good at. Like he can get to those areas. Obviously, it's tougher when you're playing against Crosby and Stamkos, but if you're playing against Abe Kubel or whatever, it's a lot easier to get the puck from them, right? So the top six forward, as you said, and it was a good point, it doesn't just make the top six better, it rounds out the entire offense, and that is really what the Rangers should be going after.
You need to deepen your team. That's the biggest thing, and that's usually the deciding factor in most playoff series. And even though we talked about this in context of the Tampa Bay series from last year's playoffs, the third line's more or less canceled out. It was the Tampa Bay fourth line that gave the Rangers fourth line. The one just simple count, adding up the goals. You probably need 4 to 5 to win every single night in the playoffs. Where are you going to get your 4 or 5 goals from? If the other team is going to get 4, you need to get at least 4 to keep it going. And if your fourth line is constantly hemmed in, and even if they're not conceding goals over time, the more likely they are to concede a goal because they're in their own zone for an extended period of time. Okay, this is one I was thinking about today. I want to get Gerard Gallant. I want to get Gerard Gallant a Twitter account, and I want him to have to read the replies every single time he posts the lineup. He doesn't have to post. He doesn't have to do anything, but he needs to read what people think about what he said, what he decides to do. He needs to be aware of the outside world, because I assume you're familiar with the screenshot from The Simpsons where Principal Skinner is maybe the children are right and I'm out of touch. No, the
No, it's the
children are wrong.
children. Yeah.
That's entirely how I feel about Gallant as the coach because I feel like he knows what people say, but I want confirmation that he's aware of what the outside world is saying about his decisions.
I think he does because the reporters keep asking him about it. Like they keep bringing it up with kind of the context of, fans are not really understanding of what you're doing, and Gerard Gallant is like, you know middle finger to the sky, I do what I want, I'm the head coach. Like that's kind of been his demeanor that his whole time here as Rangers head coach. And it would be great content to make him read the replies. I don't think that would change the way he approaches
No,
his
I
style
just want him to
because,
be
like,
aware.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure Molly and other reporters that are plugged in have either shown him or have talked to him about it off the record about, like, hey, why did you do this? Like, fans are not happy about this decision, and I'm sure Gerard to Molly or to whoever was like, I don't care. Like, it's I do what I want. I get paid to be here, and these are my decisions, and I don't care. So I'm sure him reading the replies won't change his demeanor or his thought process, but it'd be funny to hear.
This is a golden content opportunity at New York Rangers. Have Gerard Gallant read mean tweets like they have celebrities do on Jimmy Kimmel.
Well,
Have
the
Gerard
Rangers like tried to do the retweets thing, and then they stopped doing that after I think like one episode. I don't know where's the second episode at New York Rangers. Where is it? Where is it? Where's the long awaited episode that they like scrapped? Where did it go?
From what I understand, it is very hard for the Rangers and the Knicks to do anything creative on social media because of the way Madison Square Garden is structured, where you need like 9 layers of approval to post anything, even moderately, that isn't just a lineup graphic. So, from what I understand, they made that video, and then when it came time to get approval to post it, they got the kibosh from somebody higher up the food chain. It's just the Rangers and the Knicks would both rather everybody speculate and just project silence because then they don't have to address anything, and they let the media cycle carry itself out, and then it's a non-issue within 3 days because everybody just speculates. It's a somewhat effective media strategy, but it's unsatisfying from
Sure.
us out here in the public. That's what we could get the Rangers organization. Somebody under the age of 40 in their public relations department who wants to build an audience with younger people that isn't just centered around, ooh, you want to see a celebrity on the scoreboard while the Rangers are losing by 3 goals? Not really. That doesn't enhance my
No.
experience as a fan.
That and also the DJ performances in the intermissions, like,
What?
uh, who first of all, who is that targeting? Because the
I can answer this question for you because I was talking about this on Christmas Eve with somebody who brought this exact point up. Was
right.
like, why do they do because the target audience for the Rangers is the Wall Street finance bro. You know who loves them some EDM and some fist bumping music? The Wall Street finance bro in the Patagonia vest.
Okay,
That
okay.
that
I
is the
listen.
Rangers target audience.
I am heavily into EDM. I'm also like heavily into metal and like a bunch of other other genres, but I know my EDM. Cash, for example, they put out a song 9 years ago, and to my like they put out a couple of good songs after that, but they're writing on a song that they put out 9 years ago. When you book a DJ to do a Madison Square Garden for a Rangers game, I understand a lot of big DJs like aren't interested in doing a 10-minute performance, a 5-minute performance. So you have to get not the S tier list of people to perform, but real like can you get somebody that has more than one hit single in 9 years? Like that would be that'd be really like okay. I still don't really understand like who this is targeting. I understand the point of the Wall Street bros and whatever, but I don't. It's kind
It's
of
the same.
whatever to me. Like, okay, there's a performer. Okay, cool, great, but it's like I would much rather the Rangers be great on social media than watch some DJ perform for 6 minutes in an intermission. When like if you're not on social media, you can't see it anyway. You can only see it if you're at the game. But if you put out a fire post on social, a lot more than 18,000 people are going to be seeing it.
Oh man, it's the same reason Ranger tickets are more expensive than Knick tickets. It's the same exact thing. Yes, granted, the Knicks they can squeeze a couple hundred more seats in the arena because the capacity is a little bit bigger for basketball. But it's the same idea. The clientele, the target audience, is that upper echelon bougie person who is going to pay $45 for sushi to sit in the lower bowl while they wear their Patagonia vest and watch the game intermittently between talking with their boys about what they're going to do after the game. That's the Rangers' target audience. The hockey is just there in the background. That for most people, unfortunately, that is it. So one of the things I wanted to ask you: what would you get Adam Fox for Christmas? Because I have a good answer to this question. I'm curious what you're going to say.
A second Norris Trophy, probably.
Oh, I was going to say a cloning machine, so we can make the whole plane out of Adam
You could
Fox.
just get 6 Adam Foxes in there.
Yes.
A second Norris. He's been playing like he's playing like somebody that deserves a Norris this year, and he's already won it once. And right now, he is one of, if not the best defenseman in the NHL. He's scoring, yeah, sure, but that's as an aside. Like, just his overall body of work is tremendous. I always rave about Adam Fox on social media just because I legitimately don't think I've ever seen anybody quite like Adam Fox with the way that he plays. Whenever he has the if you ever just watch him play and just focus on him for a second and forget everybody else, watch what he does when he has the puck on his stick, especially if he's right on the blue line in the offensive zone. The things that he does to just keep the play alive, as opposed to panic dumping it in or panic just shooting it at the net and and being taken away and it goes the other way. The things that he does under pressure, more than a lot of other things that he does, that's what really impresses me about him is how calm he is and how he reads everybody else's positioning on the ice in that given moment, where so many times, if it was anybody else, the puck would have either been dumped in or the essentially would have been a turnover at the end of the shift. But Adam Fox somehow finds a way to keep the puck alive, and that results in a lot of opportunities, some goals. On top of everything else that he does, he's so good under pressure. And the way that he's played right now, has to be at least a Norris finalist. He's playing out of his mind.
Oh, the thing about Adam Fox that is so impressive is it's all hockey sense. It's not that he's the fastest skater. It's not that he's got the hardest shot. He's just got a really good way of thinking about the game where I would imagine the game slows down for him because the way he makes the decisions he does and the split second ways he does, where it's body feints, it's head fakes, it's not even moving his body more so, it's moving his eyes, it's moving his upper body, and really just keeping the defense off balance. I mean, I in my time watching hockey, I cannot think of anybody the Rangers have had who's able to walk the blue line the way he does, where it's so effortlessly. And like, even if he has the puck on the line, I'm not worried he's going to lose control of it and go out of the zone, even if somebody's bearing down on him, like you said, because he's got so much confidence in his game and he knows that more often than not, he's going to make the right play. Yeah, if you can make the whole team out of Adam Fox, I wouldn't have to worry about anything.
That'd be great. And the Rangers would score more goals and would concede a lot less. So that I'm for it. I'm down.
Yeah,
How much do those go on Amazon? Do you know?
well, you can clone your pet for I think it's $20,000. The bougie people can clone their pets so they can just have the same dog over and over again. But for people, I think there are ethical concerns about that, Andrew, that we haven't really addressed. I don't know if we need to introduce that to the late stage capitalistic
Yeah. You
hell
might want to
alongside.
add a couple of zeros to that number.
Yeah, more than likely, yeah. I forget what the average number is in a wrongful death termination. I think it's like $250,000, which is terrible that that's what a human life is reduced
Right.
to. But this isn't an ethics podcast. As far as what I would get Igor Shesterkin,
Ooh.
I want to get that man a hug. I
Yeah.
want to get
Yeah.
I want to get him I don't know if he's ever seen Good Will Hunting, but I want to get him Good Will Hunting on Blu-ray so he
Okay.
can have the scene where Robin Williams is talking to Matt Damon and he goes, "It's not your fault." And Matt Damon's like, "What do you mean? Not you too. You're stop fucking with me, Sean. It's not just what do you mean it's not your fault?" Because every single time the Rangers lose, even if they lose 1-0, he's like, I feel bad. It's my fault. Bro, it's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
It's really not.
Yeah, better hair ties probably for me would be
Well, he's
my
a
get to him.
headband. He's a
Well, a
headband guy.
headband, yeah, but like, okay, I mean, I don't know what kind of brand of hair bands, hands, bands, ties, whatever. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about. The thing that he puts on top of his head. They look flimsy.
They are flimsy.
They look very flimsy, and I'm sure it's not very comfortable for him to put that on underneath a mask. I'm sure on Amazon there are some real bougie, real nice headbands out there that you can buy that he won't, that
Let's
I
get
will for
Shesterkin a
him.
Gucci headband. Let's
A
get
a
Shesterkin a
Gucci a
Gucci
Gucci
headband.
headband for Igor Shesterkin.
Yes.
That's it. He deserves it, and he's got the plastic headbands that he wears cannot feel good. You cannot tell me they feel good. They don't. They don't.
Speaking from experience, I can tell you they don't.
Yeah.
That's why I usually wear Nike headbands, like the bendy ones. Like those are more practical. They can kind of move with your head. They don't squeeze it, and they don't break. Like a plastic one will just like snap on your head if you hit it at the wrong angle.
Or a haircut. Listen.
Let the goalie flow rock. Him and Vasilevsky, let the goalie flow rock.
I'm not advocating for the haircut. That's not what I'm saying. But if he continues to wear those disgusting plastic hair bands, he might have to after a certain point. Because also the problem with those headbands is that they pull on your hair, and that is what causes hair loss. A lot of if you look at his hairline, it's receding probably more rapidly than it should be, because
he's the goalie for the New York Rangers. This is the most stressed man alive, Andrew.
You're right. But also, if you ever see somebody with a ponytail or that wears a headband, their hairline recedes rapidly because the hair just keeps getting pulled, and this is getting way too inside baseball. But anyways, Gucci headband for Igor.
You know how they have like the presidential portraits where like they take them at the beginning of the term and the end of the term? They got to do that with Rangers goalies. Like they aged Henrik Lundqvist 50 years in 15 years.
And he still looks the way he does. What a scientific miracle.
Hank's just going to keep getting better because he's going to get the salt and pepper beard, and then he's going to graduate into that Oscar Isaac Pedro Pascal tier of middle-aged man. That's just going to have the girlies on the internet going insane. And that's me. I'm girlies.
That's right.
Yes. Okay, this is a serious one. What are we going to get Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider? Because you have to get them a gift together.
That's a good question. It's tough because they kind of need two different things. Like Kreider needs a practice net to shoot at because he doesn't shoot in game ever. He scored 2 goals against Pittsburgh, and that was great, but he doesn't shoot the puck a lot. He scored 52 goals last season, but this season he just shows up and says, "I'm not shooting anymore." I don't know why, but maybe he should do that. For Zibanejad to maybe
a new turntable.
Well, new turn. Yeah. I would say somebody that would I would get Zibanejad an earpiece, and an earpiece for us to yell at him to shoot the puck at 5-on-5 at 5-on-5. That's what he needs.
No, we don't even need that. Just Mika, it's the power play. Pass, don't shoot.
Pass.
It's 5-on-5. Shoot. Don't pass.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all we need to do. You could even get somebody to just hold up a sign in the offensive zone on each end, like SNL cue cards, like where they have them off stage. Yeah, just somebody behind the net holding up a shoot or pass sign, depending off it's 5-on-5 or the power play. That's all we need to do. And that's the biggest thing. And we've been talking about this the entire season. Is just this is like confidence and execution. There's plenty of talent on this team, and they're getting closer to playing up to their talent level, which is all we've been asking for. That's really all you can ask for. If the team plays up to its talent level and it still loses, there's no shame in that.
Sometimes it just be like that. But Nick, what would you get Jacob Trouba?
That's a great question.
What do you get the man that makes $1 million? What do you get him?
A really good accountant.
Well,
he's probably got a really good accountant, to be honest.
I would hope so.
You would think. What would I get Jacob Trouba? A time machine to become 2018 Jacob Trouba again, because 2018 Jacob Trouba was very good. And granted, you know what I would get him? I would get him Dustin Byfuglien out of retirement to play with, because that's the best Trouba's ever played
Oh,
in his life.
well,
Was when he had Dustin Byfuglien on his left
does
side.
yeah.
That was the best season of Trouba's career. The year the Jets were the favorites to win the Stanley Cup and they lost in the second round. No, the year they went to the conference final and lost to Vegas. Playing with Dustin Byfuglien, that was the best season of Trouba's career, counting stats wise. That was the best season of Trouba's career, analytics wise, because all he had to do, just whip that puck, shoot it as hard as you want, as many times as you want, play all the defense. All you got to worry about is offense. That's all. That's realistically what Trouba needs. He needs a partner who can mask up all of his defensive deficiencies and just let the boy shoot.
Well, if Byfuglien could be the not Byfuglien that showed up to Jets training camp super overweight, just
Hey, I will
Dustin
always like
Byfuglien.
Dustin Byfuglien for putting Evander Kane's clothes in the shower and saying, "Screw you, bro. You're
No,
annoying."
listen, I love Dustin Byfuglien. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not here to slander that man. He can eat well now. Listen, I'm not out here shaming this dude at all. But if you are going to bring him onto the Rangers, the last thing this team needs is another defenseman that can't defend. So if you can bring back the Chicago Blackhawks Dustin Byfuglien to really uh even out that defense, that'd be great. But if you're gonna bring back the last year of the Winnipeg Jets Dustin Byfuglien, I think same thing with Patrick Kane. I think I will pass.
Okay, Andrew, what are we going to get Capo Caco? I have a few ideas for this, but my first idea, I just want to sit him down and I want to have him listen to like a Kendrick Lamar album and just I want to hear what he thinks. I need to know. I need to immerse this man in some culture. I need him showing up to games in like Adidas tracksuits with big headphones on, like he's in the NBA. I just want to immerse Capo Caco in all New York City has to offer. We need to culture that boy.
Oh man, that's a really good answer. Yeah,
I
something.
need Capo Caco's thoughts on To Pimp a Butterfly.
That's a really good answer because the one thing on top of just being more culture that would give him is confidence, and I
Yeah.
think he has more confidence now than what he used to. But every time he has an opportunity that misses the net by 3 trillionths of a centimeter and it just goes wide, or he has an open net and it like hits off of some snowflake on the like in the blue paint and it just scurries to the other side for some reason, and just like Cabo Caco just needs to listen to some Kendrick and be like, hey, like I'm a baller and here's what I can do for you. That shot that he had against Islanders, because Kendrick Miller is an elite player. I mean, what a pass that was. And Cabo Caco, for all it's worth, like he was super confident on that shot because man, that was labeled top cheddar all the way, no mistakes, no hesitation. He just ripped it, and it almost ripped the net in half. Like that's how much of a shot that was. But yeah, that's a really good. That's yeah. I'm gonna agree with you on that one. That's a really good answer.
Like, you know how like Lucas showed up for the Mavericks game yesterday dressed like a cowboy? I need
Cowboy.
Capo Caco doing the New York equivalent of that.
I'm,
I
I
need
need
this city to embrace him.
I
Like I
need him
need
wearing
Nas.
and ones. I need him wearing
Yeah,
I need him wearing a Ewing jersey, and
yeah.
off you go.
Yes. Hey, we've seen him at more than one Knicks game.
That's
We
right.
know the man is making an attempt.
Yeah.
I just feel bad for these kids who, have to move halfway across the world as a teenager and don't really have anything to go off of other than this is the family the team assigned you to live with. Figure it out. Like
Right.
Brendan Smith was the one guy he talked to on the team his entire first year here because Brendan Smith lived close enough that he drove him to practice and to games every day. We got to get this man immersed and we got to get this man to stay because if the Rangers finally develop somebody into something good and they can't afford to keep him, that would be the ultimate kick in the dick. And that kind of seems like where we're headed, unfortunately. But we're not complaining this episode. We're not
No.
complaining.
Zero complaints. Zero.
Zero complaining this episode. Okay. The main one I wanted to ask you is Ryan Lindgren. And I think I know what I want to get Ryan Lindgren, but I'm curious what you have to say.
A full face shield, I think,
Yeah,
for
that's a good idea.
Christmas. Because my
That's a
my
really good
man,
idea.
my man, the amount of times he gets hit in the face with something each and every game, at a certain point, I know it's taboo and you shouldn't wear a full face mask in the NHL and whatever. You only wear it if you're like really injured or whatever. At a certain point, like it's no longer coincidence that this
Yes.
man every game gets demolished in the face with a stick, a puck, a check to the board. Like he gets his face smushed into the boards. Every game, something happens where Ryan Lindgren gets hit in the face. It is time for him to wear a full face mask because this needs to end. This man is going to be a broken individual by the time he's 32 years old, and I will not stand for it. This man needs a face mask.
I'm getting Ryan Lindgren a gaming PC so he can join a Red Dead Redemption art roleplay server and he can just make himself in the game and walk around with his ridiculous mustache that is so 1895. We're getting Ryan Lindgren on a Red Dead Redemption role playing server because that
That's
man,
really good.
I did it during the preseason. I took his headshot, put it in black and white, and that looks like a wanted poster from 1895. That mustache was ridiculous. It's got the right amount of volume where it looks very 1895, very Chester A. Arthur-y. I just turned that into a verb, which I didn't, an adjective, which I didn't know you could do. But yeah, that's the thing. You gotta lean
It's
into
the
the stuff.
holiday episode. You can do
Yeah.
anything you want.
Hey, I am phoning it in significantly less than most of the people at work this week. I am putting in some effort. Okay. You know what I'm gonna get Chris Drury? I'm going to get Chris Drury a JFresh Patreon subscription.
Yes,
And
yes,
I
yes, yes.
and I'm going to sign one of the Evolving Wild twins to be the no, don't do that guy.
Don't do that. That's right.
That would be the most valuable addition to any NHL front office. If any NHL people want to save your team a lot of time, money, and heartache, hire one nerd to be like, I don't know, I probably wouldn't do that. And you will be in a lot better shape. Every team needs well, maybe I wouldn't do that guy. That should be on every single NHL team's Christmas list.
That's a really good one. What I would do is I would probably start a totally fake rumor about Patrick Kane so that Chris Drury doesn't trade for him. Like I think because
What's the rumor that would actually make Chris Drury care? That's the thing. You
I
got
don't
to think
know.
of what's the
Well,
most he
well,
supports the Taliban. You got
I
to work
don't.
with me
Yeah,
a little bit.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, obviously, this is all hypothetical, so we're not
Yeah.
actually doing any of this. But
Yes.
for Chris Drury, I would get in his ear because obviously
Patrick Kane doesn't like pizza. There
he
we go.
doesn't. He hates pizza. He likes it on. He likes pineapples. Don't do this, please. You're gonna everybody in New York's gonna strike against you for making this trade. He's a very known pizza hater, and you cannot bring somebody of that ilk into the city.
That guy prefers Domino's to a pizzerina. That's all you need to know.
Oh
Don't want him
no!
on my team.
Oh
Don't want him on my
no!
team.
How dare you?
Domino's has one function, and it is only after midnight because it is the only thing still open that delivers. That is it.
If for post midnight activities, it's not bad for what it is.
Recreational activities.
Right. Post recreational activities, if it's 1 a.m. and you are fiending for some pizza, Domino's will hook you up. But if it's 3 p.m. on a Tuesday and you're like, I want pizza, let me order Domino's, seek help.
Yeah, no, you're going on a list if you do that. You're going on the same You're going on the same list as that lady who walked into MSG who's in litigation against the Madison Square Garden Corporation and immediately got banned from the arena.
Domino's was so close to giving us a sponsor. They were like, if only they didn't say that the Tuesday at 3 p.m. bit. Oh, if only we would have sponsored them, but no, not anymore.
Domino's knows their target audience. The only shortcoming in their marketing campaigns is the whole takeaway idea. Let me tell you, nobody ordering Domino's should be driving. Let me tell you, nobody ordering Domino's should be driving.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're driving, drive to a pizzeria. How about that?
Yes, correct. That's the way to look at it. Okay. Real quick, we'll talk about the two games this week.
We have 3.
Washington. Oh, well, Sunday. I'm not counting Sunday because Sundays football's more important on Sunday. Last week of the fantasy playoffs for people, 2 weeks to go in the regular season. Yes, the Rangers do technically play the Panthers on Sunday afternoon. Come on.
I do need to know who thought it would be a really good idea on New Year's Day to schedule a 5 p.m. matinee in Florida. I just
Well,
need to know.
it's for the
I need
old
to have a
people, Andrew.
conversation.
It's for the
Who's
old
okay?
people.
I understand the Rangers are going to be in town, and a lot of the fans in attendance are going to be Rangers fans. But why? Like, who thought it'd be a good idea? Whomst thought that this would be a really good game to watch, game to schedule. I, it's a Sunday. It's New Year's Day. It's 5 p.m. Everybody on the
If
planet is completely not okay enough to drive. So you're gonna make 18,000 people drive to the arena to watch a 5 p.m. hockey game? Sure, sure.
so they play Washington tomorrow. Tomorrow's the most expensive ticket of the entire regular season. It's like $250 to get in. The Capitals are in a good run of form lately. They're playing pretty well. I wouldn't say Washington concerns me big picture wise, but that'll be a difficult game. Tampa Bay got out of the early season funk. The Rangers play them on Thursday. Tampa's been playing better as of late. As we know, Tampa Bay is getting better. Tampa Bay's waiting for the playoffs. They're one of those teams where it's not really about the regular season for them. As long as they get in, they'll figure it out once they get there. And then, as you said, Florida on Sunday. I'd like to go 2-1 this week. That would be my goal.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing about Tuesday is Ovi just broke the record, and now he's at 802 goals. So he's like what 90 something goals away from Wayne Gretzky. So every game from here on in is going to cost a lot of money to watch Ovi play, just because you're essentially witnessing history every single night that he plays. You won't see true history for probably maybe 2 seasons because he's like 90 something goals away from breaking Gretzky's record. But 803, 804, 805, every goal is essentially history in its own right. That's why tickets for Capitals games are so expensive, just because like you will never see somebody like this in your lifetime again. So like that's gonna be cool for Tampa Bay. Yeah, they beat him opening night, and the Lightning are as you said, they're like, as long as we get into the playoffs, who cares? It doesn't matter who we play, what the record is. Who cares? The that's I feel like that's what the Lightning think, because it's like,
It's like with Golden State last year. They didn't need to win.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, just get us in. We've been there
just
before. We know what we
yeah.
need to do. Let's just get there.
It doesn't matter if we win 58 games or 62 games. Like, who cares? We're gonna win the title anyway. It doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of their approach. And Tampa Bay kind of has a similar one of just like, we're obviously good enough to make the playoffs. We still have all of our top guns in there. Just get us in and we'll figure it out. With Florida, though, Florida hired the most average coach on the history of the universe in Paul Maurice, who has coached 1,000 teams, doesn't have a lot to show for it, but he keeps getting hired anyway because of reasons. And the Florida Panthers are just like his coaching career, very average. So sometimes they're okay. They got dumpstered by the Islanders the other day, and this is kind of who they are. Like, you would think they'd be better than they are, considering the kind of team that they have, the kind of roster, the kind of talent levels that they currently have on the roster, and yet they're very average. So who knows what kind of team we'll see out of the Panthers? They could, show up to this game on New Year's Day at 5 p.m. What the? Okay, like it's they could show up and be a team that the everybody kind of expected them to be, or they could just show up and be average again. The Rangers are going to win the game pretty handily. So 2-1 is probably a good way of thinking about it. I would like to beat the Caps because of the
That's the
this
most important. That's
the
the most.
that like that is the most important game of the three. The other two are not in division, so those they're in the same conference, obviously. So those games are also important, but the Caps game is the most important, and the ideal is 2 points for the Rangers and 0 for the Caps. But we'll see. I just give me two. That
Yeah.
everything else is kind of whatever. Just get the two. Tampa Bay and Florida is kind of, they could go one of 1,000 ways, but the real important game is tomorrow against the Caps. The Rangers need to win this game.
Yeah, Washington is right behind them. The Rangers are the first wild card. Washington's the second wild card, and then the Islanders are 2 points behind Washington. Those three teams are very compressed, and then the Rangers have a little bit of work to do to get up ahead. Oh wait, no, they're tied with Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh has the tiebreaker because Pittsburgh beat them directly head to head last week. But keep winning your division games; those are most important. The Rangers have a lot of division games still to play. That is going to go a long way in determining where this team shakes out.
Won't play the Islanders again though, because schedule
It's
is
fine, Andrew. We're going to go to an 84-game season, so the Rangers can play the
right.
Islanders 4 times and the Capitals or Pittsburgh or whoever 4 times,
Great.
as opposed to just,
They've solved it. The crisis is solved.
I don't know if you read Larry's column yesterday, but the suggestion he had for the schedule matrix where you play every team every other year and then so you play your division games, they'll be the bulk of your schedule. You play each division team, I think 6 times, and then every other non-division team goes down to you play them every other year, and it works out a little bit better that way, and it makes it a little more division centric. But at the same time, we've been complaining about this in the playoffs for a while now. You're not really doing anything by forcing all of these extra division games. Like, yeah, it'll be interesting for the standings, but like none of these teams like have significant beef with each other anymore. That's really
No.
the issue. You can't manufacture beef. Like that has to come over time, like from repeatedly playing the same teams in the playoffs over and over again. Like the most beef rivalry there is in the NHL is probably Battle of Alberta, and that's different from everything else. Once you get to like Toronto, Montreal, the only one in the East really is Washington, Pittsburgh, and even at that point, like they've got their cups already. That
Yeah.
rivalry isn't as heated anymore because like everybody's just kind of here now. This is gravy at this point for both of those teams. So
It
a
it kind
division
of it
heavy.
kind of feels like there's more beef amongst the fans
Yeah,
than
there is.
there are amongst the teams themselves. Devils and Rangers fans, Islanders and Rangers fans, and the whole tri-state area fans. Obviously, they don't like each other when the teams are playing each other, but like a lot of times it feels like the fans hate each other more than the teams do.
Yes.
Which, I mean, there's pros and cons to part of the whole rivalry thing, right? Is proximity, but also back in the ye old days when there were headhunters galore and there would be 8 fights a game and everybody would be throwing out concussions to everybody else like it was the last day on the planet. Then the beef would be it would be a lot easier to manufacture, right? Because there'd be so many concussions and so many punches thrown and so many hits that it made more sense. But now in today's universe where head hits are bad and you shouldn't do them because that gives people tomato soup brains instead of functioning brains that work, and people want brains that work instead of having soup up there. So it's a lot harder to manufacture beef that way now because there's not as many over the top hits. There's not as many over the top fights for the better. But that's one of the reasons why the beef isn't as strong as it felt like it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. There's no Bobby Clark out there that is going to absolutely derail someone's career by charging at them from 150 feet out. Like these things just don't happen in the sport anymore, which is a great thing. And I don't mean to call out Bobby Clark in particular, like that's just the first name that comes to mind, but or because somebody said this to me like last week on Twitter, which I thought was ridiculous. I said the coldest take ever that Scott Stevens was a dirty player, and somebody got mad at me for that. It's like, dude, I don't know kind of sport you're watching, pal, but Scott Stevens, super dirty player. Like if they're kind of like Scott Stevens got away with that because the league just kind of didn't care about the injuries back in the day, but now they at least pretend to care. So you can't get away with those hits anymore, and because of that, the beef is not as easily generated. Like you can't do that because they're nuts. For the better, the league has changed.
Yeah, no, definitely agreed with you. I'd rather watch people actually play hockey as
Right.
opposed to, rock'em sock'em robots. I'll just watch, boxing or
Yeah.
MMA, that's always the best reply. Well, you don't even want fighting in hockey. Well, no, I'd like to watch hockey.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
That's the entire point. Like, I'd like to see the hockey players play hockey. If I wanted to watch fighting, I would
Yeah.
watch fighting. That defeats the
I'm
purpose.
I'm not opposed to fighting in the sport. Like keep it in the sport. I'm not saying ban fighting, but like for like fighting has to be done for a reason. Like you just
Yeah.
the whole fourth line can't just be put on the ice for the sole purpose of hurting people. Like that's silly, and also it's not hockey, bro. Like I don't understand a lot of people that are just like, oh well, you need a fourth line that's hashtag gritty and hashtag this and blah, 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 blah. Can they play hockey? That's what we're here for. And we're not complaining. Zero complaints this episode, but we're just off on a tangent about
We're asking questions.
beef and rivalries and all that. Can the fourth line play hockey? If the answer is no, then get them off my team.
To quote the great Bill Burr, I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying, why can't we ask questions? That's all I'm saying. Why can't we ask questions? That's all I'm saying. All right, real quick, get everyone out of here. Have a safe, happy New Year's. Be careful out there. Really, really, really unnecessarily dangerous holiday for a variety of reasons. If you live in the suburbs, yes, those are fireworks. They are not the other thing, no matter what the people on Facebook say. I promise they're not gunshots. I promise they're not gunshots. Okay, we will see you guys
Buy
next.
an Uber, buy a Lyft, buy
Yes.
whatever other insert company here that you like to use, taxi, whatever.
Yeah.
Please pay for that as opposed to
Yes.
driving. If you are anywhere near activities,
Yes.
Uber, Lyft, taxi, please, and thank you.
Yes, we love our community. Be safe out there. Make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're on all the major podcasting platforms. Leave a review on Apple or Spotify. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Like on the YouTube channel. That helps other people find the videos. This episode will be up on YouTube with the full video sometime Monday afternoon, evening, whatever. Make sure you're following the show's accounts on Twitter and Instagram at Liberty Blue Pod. Pull out clips, shit posting, all that good stuff you'll find there. Make sure you're following Andrew and I for more deranged rantings about the Rangers, hockey, and other things. Andrew's handle is Chelney Andrew, CHELNEY. Mine is Nick Zararis, Nick ZARARIS. We will see you guys next week. Let's see if the Rangers can pick up 2 wins this week. We'll see you guys then.
Later.